Welcome back, and we continue our panel discussion on content, and this time we're going to focus on money, only on money. So Sami, start with you. Suppose I'm allowing three of you to make a pitch saying, these are the 2-3 most important sources of revenue for me, and this is why they should look at my company. What would you say now?
For us, it's obviously brand revenue
Correct.
and advertiser revenue dependent.
Right,
And
right.
that is the source of all sort of the streams which emanate. Most of this, about 70 to 80% of our streams come from there. The balance come through, say, we license the technology in international markets, but that too we license to advertisers.
Right.
So there again, it's dependent on the same person.
Really.
And the balance ones are on syndication and distribution of our content, which has grown really well over the last year. But if you look at it, primarily advertisers really buy three kinds of pieces, right? They're either buying the product, which is the content itself, or they're buying the sponsorship into it, or they're buying the inventory around it.
Right.
So these are the sort of three buckets that advertisers end up working with us on. Recently, YouTube has began to be able to allow us to sell our own inventory. So
Right.
we are the first partner in the country to do that because we do about 1 billion views a month. So it gives us the ability to marry not just our creative, but also marry the inventory along with it.
If there were advertisers, brands which are not advertising or using you, give me a 30-second pitch on why they should.
Pretty much every brand works with us right now in the market. There's not a single brand, right from Pepsi to Levers, which doesn't.
What about Patanjali?
Good one there, Anand.
So tell me, Manav. I'll come back to it. No?
For us, it is very, very clear that we see a huge, 200 million plus market between Nagin on one side and Narcos on the other side, right? And this is the humongous segment which is entertainment starved, which is content starved, and English is not the mainstay. English is very, very niche. And which is why we have reasons to believe that, people will come, and especially when you are, giving them completely ad-free experience, and nobody has yet been able to launch a platform with 5 or 6
How long will you stay
original
ad-free?
shows.
How long will you stay ad-free?
In foreseeable future.
What is foreseeable?
Maybe next 2 years, 3 years.
That narrowed it quickly.
I don't know that.
Okay,
right?
foreseeable future.
See,
Okay.
what we have ventured to do has never been done before in this country. Once you look at it from that specter, you realize that we are here on the cusp of a behavior shift. That shift has, 3-4 very structural changes in place.
Now
right?
you've got Vinod over here who is happy to
Video.
he is happy to take some money from, from advertisers. He's saying one spot every 15 minutes. So what's wrong with what he's doing?
So
he's got a model which works.
The fundamental conflict with ad is that there is ad is an ad.
Remember,
is an ad.
you might change your business plan 2 years from now. So before you say fundamental problem.
I didn't say that. I said, you said what is the foreseeable
Correct,
future,
correct.
which I said 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
Nobody, including Jeff Bezos, has been, able to guide the market through beyond 4 quarters. So
Right.
who am I to say that, what would market shape up 8 quarters from now,
Right.
right? All what I'm saying is that we've taken this cautious call of making a platform which is completely ad-free, which is riding on the strength of the content,
Right.
which is priced so competitively that you pay me less than $1 a day, and for $2,
In the
a month.
US.
Yeah, in US, which is cheapest, right?
Right.
So there is a convincing story out there, right? And I have launched the platform only a week ago. 16th is when we commercially launched it. Initial days are very, very, exciting. We are seeing a direct correlation between downloads to subscription as well, right? And it is music to our ears.
So Vinod,
Yeah.
one is you got one spot every 15 minutes per
Yep.
consumer,
Yeah.
like you said. So, is that viable for you, or is it? Are you going to be forced to make it 2 spots or 3 spots or 4 spots?
So let me back up on it
Yeah.
and just say that we have seen our metrics
Right.
from Q1 this year to from Q1 last year double across listening hours, search volume, as well as ad inventory. Okay. But that said, when we kind of really obsess around our consumers and see how they want to engage, some people are fine with ads, other people are not.
Right.
And so we have a pretty substantial amount of paid subscribers, kind of over indexes in markets outside of India, as you would imagine, but
Right.
we see India rapidly picking up. And for people who pay, they get an ad-free experience, they have the ability to download all their music they love, and they get high-quality audio files, and we have got a huge product roadmap that is strictly dedicated to features around the paywall. Because when you ask somebody to pay for something, it's all about what kind of perceived value you can deliver to them versus the actual amount they have to pay. And there has to be like a significant multiple of value for them to do so. On the ad side of things, this is definitely a unique market in the sense that 76% of the ad dollars, at least from what I was told, are going to either Google or Facebook properties.
Digital,
right?
digital ad dollars.
Digital
Yeah,
ad dollars.
sure.
And so in order for any kind of ad-focused company to do well, you have to invent. You have to create new ad units. You have to be native and deliver things in the form and function of the experience that's on your application. And so we've had innovations like brand channels, which allow brands to actually curate music experiences, starting with the Salvin homepage and then going into a branded environment with certain playlists and radio stations. We've done a lot of original content sponsorships where we actually have the brand that's integrated into an actual program. We did something with Neha Dupia called No Filter Neha. It was sponsored by Liva, part of the Birla Group. And it wasn't purely about just sponsoring the show. Neha, spoke about the brand as kind of a pre-roll before the episode started. It was all throughout billboards, Facebook ads that we did. So it was a full-on 360-degree marketing integration that we did. And we did a Nielsen study to be able to measure the effects, kind of like Samir was outlining before, about how this actually increased recall, likelihood to recommend, and other kind of brand lift metrics.
Right.
And so the larger point is that for this market in particular, you have to invent the solutions to work well with advertisers.
I'm going to end with a conversation with Samir. You're the only one who is completely brand dependent. You said all brands work with you, and so on. So how do you see this going? How do you see the percentage of money that your business gets growing as opposed to what TV gets or what outdoor gets or what print gets? Where do you see this going? And what would you tell marketers who are not seeing it with the same lens as you are?
So there are two buckets, and one kind of leads to the other. There's the inventory bucket, which is easier to sell in. You already spoke about how 70 to 85% actually of revenue right now, of new revenue, which new spends which go to digital, go to Google and Facebook. So those are the top, what I would say, they are the crest of the wave, right? They are basically growing the market. So that's approximately, in my opinion, about $250 million in India right now. That's basically revenue that goes through inventory, the likes of YouTube, led by YouTube, and then everybody else, including Facebook and Twitter. The content market is a subset of that, in which brands basically spend money, and that market is spend money to sponsor programming.
Right.
And that market, in my opinion, is roughly about $40 million. So the $200 million, $250 million is going to grow by itself, because that's basically as on a CPRP basis, it will compete with TV. Which means that as more people watch video and volume increases, advertisers want to buy larger pieces of inventory there.
Yeah, sure.
And that will really be something which will begin to, in my opinion, dominate over the next 10 years as television spends will move to that, because it's a much easier buy. Media buyers are familiar with the terminology and they're able to see very clear results around it. Content as a subset of that is something which will begin to eat into all the programming and the product which creative communication goes out with. That again is roughly, in my opinion, about $350 million market, where the Ogilvies and the Lowe's make all the television commercials. That will begin to change, as we have seen recently with what's happening with Wix and what Publicis is doing. Everyone has realized that storytelling is a new way to go. I don't believe that that will completely move here, but there'll be a fraction of that which will begin to move more and more as people get alternatives to actually communicating to these communities around it. Between a combination of both of them, I believe that it will, over the next 3 years, be more than $1 billion in terms of, if it's $200 million now, the $200 million is going to accelerate growing by the inventory, and the money which is already being spent in creative will be doubled down on, because more and more media companies will want to go towards that part as inventory revenue moves towards Google and Facebook. So I believe that it's $1.5 billion opportunity in the next 3 years.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Vinod. Thank you, Manav. Thank you, Samir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anand.
And thank you, viewers, for watching. And we hope you've learned a little bit about how the content business is moving and where it will reach in the next few years. Thank you so much.